oh my God, it's like an overnight success story. But you were like, no, 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 no. I've been putting in the work, right?
Yeah. I've been putting in the work for a really, really long time. And Once Upon a Time was my seventh series, and lucky number seven.
Yeah.
And it was the one that really hit and touched the hearts of so many. So it was the show that put me on the map, and it gave me the most recognition.
But I love your work ethic, and I know I just saw a comment fly by that there's a lot of aspiring performers on here, but really this question is for anyone, aspiring to be anything in their life, who just has a dream and wants to go for something. What advice do you have about the importance of putting in that work and working on your craft, whatever that might be?
Well, I think working on your craft is the most important, because it gives you the confidence that you need to move forward in any field that you're interested in. The more knowledge you have about something, the more adept you are, the more skilled you are, the more educated you are on anything. So you can approach it with confidence, and especially in the field that I'm in, you have to have confidence.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
A lack of confidence maybe works for a character, but even behind that, or it can be quiet confidence. It doesn't have to be so boastful and out there and there's a lot of actors that are very shy, but as soon as that camera turns on, they feel very secure and safe to expose themselves in front of the lens. I kind of vacillate between the two. Sometimes they're very quiet. I like to be like in a corner, and I don't really like to socialize too much, and then sometimes I do. Sometimes I can't stop socializing, so it varies for me. But the importance of craft is everything, and I think it's critical to study before you approach anything. And my studying, I would say I studied probably for a good 4, 5, 6 years before I really put myself out there and went on my first audition.
Like I said, you put in the work, which is a very valuable lesson to many people. And now, shifting gears to talk a little bit about Once for a bit. I have to tell you, this is particularly an important show for me and my husband, Gio. When we got married 4 years ago, my sister officiated our wedding, and we said, have fun, create whatever ceremony you want to do. We were like the easiest people to get married. And in her opening remarks, she talked about the things that we enjoy to do. And in our wedding, ceremony, forever and ever documented, she says, cuddling on the couch, watching one of your favorite shows, Once Upon a Time. So you were in our wedding.
Oh my God, that's amazing!
Yes.
So glad you didn't tell me about it beforehand, because I would have crashed it.
It was a great Miami wedding. But anyway, it was
congratulations. That's amazing. That's a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing that with me.
Oh, thank you. But it shows your reaches as far and wide. And I know through playing Regina / the Evil Queen, that's when everyone suddenly became Team Lana. I think it was a trending hashtag at one point,
I do remember that.
Yeah, and it's pretty amazing. And I know the opportunity to audition for the show came up in an interesting way, how you kind of got the part and how it all happened for you. So I would love for you to share that.
It was very interesting. Veronica Rooney, who was our casting director, called me in for another project. And the audition was for a trauma surgeon. There's one part of the story that not many people know. This was my second read for this trauma surgeon. And I thought, I just did a TV show where I was hired by Jerry Bruckheimer. I played a trauma surgeon. Why am I even casted, not testing, but reading for this rather? And I thought, I proved myself once, and I said, okay, well, whatever. I love auditions. I really do, because I just love to play. So I went in there for the second time and read this 2-page monologue. And at the end, Veronica looked at me and said, I have another project for you. I want you to audition for the Evil Queen for this show called Once Upon a Time. And all I could think of is, I was just speaking in doctor terminology, trying to save a life. But now you want me to audition for an Evil Queen? What did you see in me? She said, you're a good storyteller. And I thought, okay. And she said, I want you to take a look at the script, and it's not what you think. There's a lot of people that think, this is like campy, over the top, really theatrical, but it's not. It's as grounded as human as you can be when it comes to telling a fairy tale story. And I thought, well, that's great because I love being grounded and human. So I took a look at it and I fell in love with the script immediately. Went in and read for Adam and Eddie once. I've read 2 scenes only once. And they both looked at me and said, thank you. And I said, well, do you want to see it again or anything? Any notes? And they said, nope, we're good. And I walked out and I thought, well, see what happens. Before I got to my car, I got a phone call. And they said, my reps, they said, they want to test you. They actually want to offer you the part, but you scared the crap out of them. I was like, oh my God. That's great. And it was really the first time I'd ever played a villain. So this was a new thing for me. I was always the very vulnerable, heartfelt, and broken, character, or someone who was saving a life. I'm really good at rescuing people.
That's amazing. I love that story so much because it shows the importance of taking a chance and showing up. And I think people get discouraged sometimes, especially nowadays, and think, oh, I don't have a shot, or that's not the right opportunity. But this literally changed the course of your life, right? Like reading for something else and then this coming up. So what advice do you have for anyone trying to make their own path about embracing their own opportunities?
I say go for them. I say don't judge every opportunity that comes your way. Even if it's like a smaller job, or say you want to get here, but they're offering you a part that's here, just take it and have the best time with it, and know that everything is a stepping stone to something greater. And often opportunities have come my way, and I've looked at this going, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. What is this going to do for me? Well, I took a job not long ago where I don't think it's going to do anything for my career, honest to God. It's a very small part. But I met incredible people. And I met people that I know are going to stay in my life, that I am going to create with and do other projects with. So even though the part was probably this big in this movie I did, I met wonderful people who I can call my friends now. And so you never know where opportunities are going to lead you. Don't judge them. Just be grateful, and if it feels right, and it's not like you're doing anything outside of your, comfort zone, and what I mean is like nudity, or, doing something that really just doesn't sort of feel good on an ethical level, then don't do it. But, just don't judge everything, and just go for it.
That's great advice.
Yeah.
A lot of good advice. A lot of questions coming in about once as well, and I think Gloria and I had the same question, and that was, what does once represent to you?
Oh gosh, it represents not only hope, and I know a lot of people know it as that, but it also represents something that I like to say, I like to call it good can come from broken. And I feel that there were a lot of characters that were broken on our show. And at the core of their being, they were actually really good people. But because of what happened in their lives and all the traumas or things that were taken away from them, or failures, it reshaped them and caused them to become villains or liars or whatever. It sort of tainted their character, and yet what we experienced on the show is we saw these people striving to either return to their core or make a better, create a better version of themselves. And so, yes, it's about hope. Yes, it's about family. But to me, it's about transition. And it's also about making amends and taking responsibility for things and owning up to things and saying, I'm sorry. And the one thing I loved about our show is there was always a motto. There was always there was a lesson to learn, kind of like Twilight Zone. You watch the Twilight Zone, you're like, wait a second, wow, that's crazy, but I learned something from that. G.I. Joe would do that in their own ways. But I felt like once had that. There was always a lesson to learn, and it inspired a lot of us.
And you said that the evil queen was the epitome of hope and of change. What did you mean by that?
I felt like she just, everyone forgets about the awful acts that she committed. But her journey was tumultuous, and it was an inner struggle with oneself. And we all have that. We all have these sort of flaws or defects within our character that we harshly judge. And some, whom are sociopaths don't even own up to them. But, the conscious people look at this and go, I don't really like this about myself. And, oh, God, can everyone see this? And I think Regina, it took her a minute to become more conscious. It actually took Henry and the fear of losing him that actually woke her up. But when you are aware of these things within yourself and you actively want to change them, that's a beautiful thing. And even though her journey was tumultuous and it was just constant inner struggle and judgment and hatred, she reached a level of acceptance. And I think that is so critical to not harshly judge oneself. We're always going to do something that we're like, oh my God, I can't believe I said that. Or God, I wish I'd had enough sleep last night and I wasn't such a bitch to this person, like what was wrong with me? But you always have an opportunity to say, hey, you know what, I'm sorry. I got to own that. I wasn't my best self the other day, and I'm sorry. And can you just forgive me? And can I make this up to you somehow? And I find often people don't know how to self-examine, self-reflect, and then show up and say, I'm sorry. And I think Regina, as hard as it was for her to get there, she ended up doing that. And that was so inspiring, not only for me, but for the audience. And it's a message that, when I have children of my own one day, or even the kids that I mentor, I really try to give that to them. I try to inspire them. I try to say, hey, you know what, we're all going to make mistakes, but we can always make up for them. And I think it's critical that people in the world accept, don't harshly judge others. Forget about yourself, but also others. I had a little incident with a friend of mine the other day whom I've known for years, and she said something that didn't sit well with me. It actually made me cry. And she was fearful that I judged her entire character and painted her with colored her with one brush, rather. And I said, absolutely not. I knew that you were having a day. And just because you made a mistake and you hurt my feelings and I cried, I've known you for 20 plus years. We're not going anywhere. We can talk about it. We can talk about it. Or even if you're having a hard life moment, right? You're going through a breakup, or someone just passed on, or you're suffering from depression. Everyone harshly judges everyone in those moments, and we don't even know what's going on with the other person. And that is something I'm really trying to change in the world. And it simply happen just by, telling the story or sharing my feelings and thoughts about it. But I feel like we saw bits of that with Regina, and then I try to carry on her legacy by keeping her alive and teaching these lessons. These are lessons that I strongly believe in for myself, and I try to live by. And I hope to, share them with my fans, the youth. There's so many young women and men that look up to me. So I just really want to be a good example. I like to walk the walk, as they say.
Well, I think you're walking the walk. A lot of people are saying how inspiring you are and how much they connect with you. And putting out messages that matter is why I wanted to have you on the show as well. And we're going to get to some of the other work you're doing in a little bit, which just shows your character and what you stand for. And I love that about you.
Thank you.
It's important. You don't always see it in our business. So I gravitate towards that. I love that. And I think by putting out messages to help the next generations to come, why wouldn't you want to do that?
Yes, they are our future.
Yeah.
And it's critical that we guide them,
Absolutely.
in the right ways.
Yeah, for sure. And I love that part of Once was this idea that everybody deserves to have a happy ending. And sometimes that's hard in everyday life to see if you're going through a tough time or whatever the case may be. But I took the message as, everyone's entitled to it. It's something everyone should have. So why was that an important message of the show from your perspective?
It is hopeful, but it's positive, and that's the energy that we want to put out in the world. And, often people think of a happy ending as being with a partner, having a loved one, but like being in a relationship in that way, in an intimate partnership. And that's part of it, but there's a lot of people that aren't in intimate partnerships that are really, truly, truly happy. My mother is one of them. She goes, I never want to be with a man again. I'm done. And it's like, Ma, but, he's so great. She's like, I'm not interested. And she's truly, truly happy because she's truly happy with herself.
Yeah.
And so that happy ending doesn't necessarily have to be, first of all, it's so much pressure to put onto another person to say, you have to make me happy. I need you to be happy. It really does, as cliche as it sounds, it starts within. And if you do the work on oneself and you really truly love and celebrate who you are, that is going to create happiness. And then you're going to attract the right person. Because when you're operating on that frequency, you're going to find that person that matches you. Yeah. And then you can create a happy life together. But it's a very important message and often gets misconstrued. So I really think it's important because I'm single right now. And, I won't be forever. I know that there's someone out there who I'm going to jive with. I can't believe it just said jive. But I'm gonna gel with. We're gonna see eye to eye, and that person will come. But right now, even without them, I'm very happy. I have a beautiful family. I have beautiful friends. I have my dog is everything to me. My health. My home, when I really take the inventory, I'm pretty blessed. And so it's important that we practice and look at what we already do have and celebrate that. And that promotes happiness.
I could not agree with you more. And somebody just wrote Lana for president. Just saying.
That's a lot of responsibility, but thank you.
You're like, I'm perfectly happy as I am right now.
I'm happy not being president, although God knows we all would love for someone else to be.
That's amazing. And let me get one more fan question for right now. Somebody would love to know, I think Jackie was her name, where would you have liked to see the Queen's character go next?
Oh, gosh. I do, for the audience sake and also for Regina, because she's experienced so much loss, I wish she would have found love again. Love on that level, in an intimate partnership. I think she was still healing her broken heart over losing Robin, so she probably needed some time. I know me, I'm a slow healer. I'm a slow healer. I'm like, you broke my heart, that's it. I'm a master healer, and then I slowly sort of, find my way out of it. But, and Regina, knowing that she holds on to resentment for so long, she probably needed another 10 years before she found love. But I just, would have liked for her to have that. And I think had the show continued, that was Adam and Eddie's every intention, was to bring that love into her life, especially with Henry having found love and everyone else. It was lonely at night for Regina in that cold bed.
Oh,
she
for
needed
sure.
a pet.
A lot of people say they would love to see a spinoff with you one day. So.
Oh, well, thank you. We are trying to figure some things out. I don't know if it's a Regina Evil Queen spinoff, but we are trying to stay creative during this crazy time. Create projects.
Cool.
Yeah.
And that was such a big part of your life for 7-ish years or so. I can only imagine what it must be like when you wrap something like that up and you have to kind of rediscover who you are, who Lana is as a human being again after playing somebody else so intensely for so many years. What was that process like for you?
Oh, God, it was horrible.
Was it?
Not horrible because I had to get to know Lana again. It was just the transition. I'm not good with, I promote change, I love change, I'll preach about it, but I am not good at it. I'm like, wait a minute. Right. I'm a double Cancer, which means I'm very maternal, I'm very nurturing, I like to nest, I like my home, everything has a place. Yeah. So it was a massive transition for me. My marriage ended. The show ended. I had to move from country back to this country and back to California in a home that I didn't really live in. I bought during the show, but I didn't live in. And it was just this, like, transitioning Lola, even though people are like, she's a dog. She's a dog who's very smart and has really, she's sensitive. So it was transitioning her here and myself, and then also, mourning a character who was such a huge part of my life, someone whom I loved and told her story more than I lived my own. And that was hard because it was like, well, who is Lana again? And when I had the three step boys as my children full time, it was like they dominated the house as kids do. Kids take over. I stopped listening to my music. I stopped playing my records. I stopped doing so many things that I had to sort of, force myself into doing. So it kind of felt like, I used to like this. I did this all the time. And then it was also fun. It was also like, wait a minute. I can take myself out on a date and, like, go on a Lana date with self and, like, what did I used to do that I didn't do for 7 years, I can now do again. And so it's been a really interesting journey. There's been obviously some great highs and some low lows, but I feel like after, X amount of years now, it's probably been 2 years, I guess, I feel like I'm in a really good place. I had a whole ritual around Regina and letting her go and thanking her for letting me tell her story for 7 years and honoring her and really just, sort of signing out of character.
Yeah.
Although right now I feel like all I do is look like her with this makeup and stuff. I'm like, I'm going to put some red lipstick on. I felt like I've been like this soft hippie girl for the last, 2 months or whatever. Everyone's seen me super hippied out. And then I was like, I want dark lips and I want like black eyes. And then I was like, I'm going to wear a slip dress. And I'm like, no, I'm going to wear this. And now all I look like is the evil queen. I'm like, what did I just do?
It's working, though. It's working.
Great.
Lana, you shared a really moving Instagram post, I guess shortly after you wrapped, not too long after, and it resonated with so many people, and in fact, I've seen a few people say, that Instagram post you did helped me, and if you're cool with it, I would love to bring up something you said in it.
Sure.
And you wrote, I'm no longer married, I'm no longer a stepmother, no longer a queen, I've started over. Why do I feel the need to share? Because this is my truth, and for all of those who are struggling, know you are not alone. I'm going to cry, because that is such a powerful thing to say to so many people. It's raw, it's brave, it instantly helps anyone who feels alone in any capacity and like they're struggling. What gave you the strength and made you want to share something so personal?
I have often been approached by fans about, what's next? What are you doing next? And a lot of my fans, and I want to thank those who are listening, thank you for not asking me such personal questions, which was, what happened in your marriage? Are you and Fred still together? What's going on there? But I could feel it because we were pretty public about our relationship, and because we were just so in love and so happy and wanted to share it, But then that image sort of died, and no one was seeing that anymore. And I experienced, through my separation and then divorce, a lot of ups and downs, and a lot more downs. It was a hard transition. And I felt like all I see on Instagram is happy pictures of people and, vacationing here and doing that. And I was doing the same, but it wasn't how I always felt. And there's this, pressure of, stay connected to everyone. And it's like, well, I don't want to right now. I want to go insular. I'm feeling really sad, and I'm experiencing a lot of loss and despair, and I don't want people to know about it. And then I thought, well, why not? Like, this is also real, and this is very authentic. And, you know, everyone saw me as living this happy life, but now I wasn't very happy, and I needed to share that too. And I wanted people to know that, you know, us celebrities look like we have these ideal lives with the homes and the cars and the flashy outfits and the jewelry.